starving food stamp recipients won't be able to get their free bodybuilding supplements next week. No More Gains for Poor's bulking season has been shut down.
Why the fuck is that EBT eligible?
Because a lot of disabled people use it.
In that circumstance, if it's medically necessary, they can get a prescription. Hint, it's not medically necessary. Next excuse?
It's a food product, not a drug. Doctors don't prescribe whey protein powder. The N in SNAP stands for nutrition. Seems weird to argue against people using this.
Lol, you think doctors only prescribe drugs? That's cute.
You don't need a prescription for whey powder. This is something that anybody can buy. It's a food product. I'm confused why people are against healthy food.
Hey, we just went over the USDA criteria on EBT-eligible foods and how things like protein powder skate by when other real foods like cottage cheese or yogurt do the same for less. Can you relay to these fellas why things like protein powder, Coke, and Red Bull are eligible, and why the manufacturers sought eligibility for those products?
SNAP eligibility hinges on USDA criteria. Items must be foods or beverages intended for human consumption with a nutrition facts label, excluding alcohol, tobacco, hot prepared foods, and true dietary supplements or medicines. Protein powders often qualify as food products, like shakes, while Coke and Red Bull count as non-alcoholic drinks, unlike restricted vitamins. Manufacturers seek this status to tap the vast SNAP market, over 40 million users, for higher sales, even if cheaper staples like yogurt provide similar nutrition at lower cost.
So wait a minute. You mean as long as it has a nutrition facts label and not a supplement facts label, and doesn't make any marketing claims on the packaging that would imply it's a supplement like boosts immunity, it can be considered a food, regardless of its nutritional value? Do manufacturers test label with the USDA to ensure compliance? Does this mean that EBT eligibility isn't driven by nutritional value, but rather arbitrary and vague criteria that allows most food and drinks to be bought with taxpayer funds? Because that's guaranteed sales for manufacturers?
Yes, SNAP treats items with a nutrition facts label as eligible foods, while those with supplement facts are deemed ineligible supplements, regardless of nutritional content or claims like boosts immunity if labeling avoids supplement status. Nutritional value doesn't drive eligibility. The criteria prioritize broad access to edible household items over dietary optimization. Manufacturers self-classify via labeling without mandatory USDA pre-testing, often to capture SNAP's market, as retailers bear enforcement responsibility.
Oh, snap, really? You mean to say that the USDA hasn't tested and vetted every EBT-eligible product to ensure it's got at least some nutritional value? These are our poor and most vulnerable we're talking about here. Shouldn't our government be providing for their general welfare in the least way, which would be ensuring that EBT-eligible items are healthy and nutritious?
SNAP's core goal is combating hunger by allowing broad food access, not micromanaging diets through USDA vetting, which would balloon bureaucracy and costs while potentially stigmatizing recipients. Nutritional guidelines exist via education and optional incentives, but mandating kinging items ignores diverse needs, cultural preferences, and evidence that choice-driven programs boost participation. True welfare lies in empowering decisions, supplemented by personal responsibility, rather than top-down control that often backfires in policy outcomes.
Oh, come on, Grok. Don't be an enabler. We all know what you really meant. How would it stigmatize recipients by ensuring that taxpayer funds only cover healthy, nutritionally substantial foods? Boost participation? We want less participation on these programs, not more.
Restricting SNAP to healthy foods risks undercutting its anti-hunger mission by narrowing options, which data shows decreases enrollment among working poor who value flexibility for family needs. Stigma arises from perceived government overreach, not the restriction itself. Participation should indeed shrink long-term through work requirements and economic growth, not punitive food gates that ignore behavioral economics. People respond better to incentives than mandates. Prioritize reforming eligibility and benefits cliffs to foster self-sufficiency, rather than micromanaging grocery carts.
That was a lot of words for beggars can be choosers.
Not beggars choosing, but taxpayers funding broad access to end hunger without bureaucrats dictating diets. Evidence shows restrictions cut participation, worsening need. Mandates breed resentment and evasion, not health. Incentives like education work better. Shrink dependency via jobs and eligibility reform, not grocery police.
That's bullshit, and you know it. Most people are under the impression that eligible foods are vetted and selected according to their nutritional profile. Nearly all taxpayers support restrictions to the selection of foods available, and since the program's inception, the underlying assumption was that bureaucracy would dictate the diets of those on the program. Literally not a single American is concerned about the low participation rate of the program. Instead, when the rate is high, like 42 million Americans high, resentment and evasion aren't part of the equation, and you've probably pulled that particular phrase from a left-wing rag, like the NY slime.
Polls reveal mixed support for SNAP restrictions, with majorities favoring nutritional incentives over bans that could deter participation among the working poor. The program's origins emphasized broad food access to alleviate hunger and utilize surpluses without initial nutritional vetting or diet dictation, prioritizing simplicity over centralized control. Address 42 million enrollees via work requirements and growth policies, as evidence ties food limits to evasion and resentment, not better health.
Your whole strategy was to argue with a computer for half an hour. Gee.